the dig, it has black pepper, cardamom, cloves, almonds. We grind it into like a paste, and then we sieve that with a cloth. And after we've sieved it, filtered it, we take the juice, we bless it with mantras, and yeah, and then we serve that, and we make it like with psychic cleanliness. We bathe, we wash, we do mantra, we do self purification, and we use the medicine for healing, and yeah, for like inner journeying. And so that's the main medicine we work with in the Nahang tradition. We call that Shihidi Deg. So Deg means like a cauldron, big iron bowl, and Shihidi Deg means the drink of martyrs, the drink of the warriors who have fallen. Their spirit comes and drinks of that drink, and we drink that, have that drink that they drink. And so for us, it's very holy sacrament to break through our inner and outer obstacles.
Okay, thank you. Soon we will know more, maybe, and designing some time together, calling the tribe to join us and have a dive into this medicine. Kamalroop, a last question is regarding death in our societies that are so cut from the spiritual realm in a way and general. And I had also this question coming to me while I remember that you were close to me as the first and almost unique person that I could share with what happened within myself when my father passed away a few years ago. And it really opened something really intimate in my heart for you. And so, yes, I was like experiencing the lack of awareness regarding death in our society so sharply at this moment of my life. And I have a preoccupation on how we can help the world not to go through death in these forthcoming years, and that the subject is going probably be more and more present around us. So for people that have no spiritual contact or opening, you know, what can we do? What can we say to help them to go through that?
It's a very good question, and a very spiritual question, and it's not an easy subject. It's not an easy situation. So I think the first thing is, like you said, like people who are not so much into spirituality, how they're going to possibly understand death is very difficult. So people who do plant medicine, or yoga, or kind of breath work, or diving even, or some kind of hard exercise, they kind of know what death is, because they have to have an ego death to concentrate. Like if they're doing diving, they have to suppress the breath, or even really cold water bathing, or they take a space cake. I don't know, they have ayahuasca. Death is very present, even in birth. I think women have a much more closer relationship with death than men because of birth, and this precipice of death and life coming in this moment of birth, how sensitive it is. And so I think women have much more an idea of temporality of life than men, and it gives them this edge. So I would urge the sisters, the mothers, my daughters, my grandmothers out there who are wise, who take the leadership role like you are in the community, to talk to people about death and making them realize. And I can say from our tradition, we actually call our tradition Reet Maryada. Reet means to live, Maryada to remember death. Always living in each moment, remembering that this breath could be the last, and having that contact with death to that level, because death itself, you could say in our soul is eternal. It has no beginning, no end. Everyone's soul is the same soul, the same energy. And that being or state of being of consciousness is eternal and deathless and timeless. And that exists within our heart, within our being. And we all know that's there if we make contact with it. It's the mind that experiences death. The mind has to finish. certain state, and the mind doesn't want to finish, and that really makes it afraid, because the mind's object orientated. It's always trying to achieve objectives and do certain things and do this and then do that, and then death is this ultimate like blow of what it can't do or finish. And so death is really a mental concept. There is no death, there's only life. And we have to step into eternal life. We have to realize death is just a chapter closing and a new one opening. So life is eternal, the cycle of life. But we have to realize that eternity within the cosmic sun, within our heart center, and see that light that's eternal within us. That's really the cure. But to see that cure, you have to go through that mental death. So meditation, silence, peace, trying to get the mind to quieten through breath work, through deep inner exploration, medicine work, tantric work, things that challenge our ego. These are all important modalities in this time to tackle this issue of death, because what you've hinted at subtly is that we're heading to a period of where there'll be a lot of death. And so we're going to see a lot of it in every direction. And we really have to prepare, and people have to prepare that we could all die. It's going to be, it doesn't look good what's ahead. And so we have to really be prepared for that physical, to drop the physical body easily, so we don't have a painful exit from the body, and our families don't suffer, or the people who are left behind don't suffer, because we're really heading for something chaotic. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope people say, hey, you did this interview with Mukande and it was completely wrong. I hope I'm wrong from my heart. I pray I'm wrong, but I don't think I'll be wrong. I think that things are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, and we're going to see a lot of people not make it. And so we already saw that a little bit in COVID, and who knows what's next? Food shortages, I don't know, more sickness, war, I don't know what's next. And so I pray for peace, I hope for peace, I hope that things work out for this planet. But I'm not hopeful because of people's ego and people's greed and people's desires and attachments, and the games that are out there at the moment, where people are fighting each other, families are fighting in families, man is fighting woman, woman is fighting man, mother is fighting child, child is fighting parent, parents are fighting their parents, and in communities everything's broken. So I'm not so hopeful. I see the disease, but I see the cure too, which is death. Remembering death is a very good vaccination from death. To really make friends with the concept of death is the best vaccination to see it. And we can see death sometimes within us. When we make love and we orgasm, there's a death. The body, the mind come silent. There's an ego death there. That's a very important death to elongate and enlarge. There's also a death before orgasm. That's also a very deep death to go inside, because it can clear karma. It can make meditative space within us. In dancing, when we get lost in a trance of dancing, there's a death. I already said about birth, the contractions a woman has, there is a death there. So, we can find death if we want to find it. I mean, in India, the Agoris, the very hardcore yogis connected to Shiva, they live in the cremation grounds, and they eat even out of the skull of a dead person to remember death always. They believe it's the biggest medicine. And in my understanding of my yogic path, death has been a very good friend of mine. And even our title, Mahakal, it means the great death, the great time. So we make friends with death. Death is a good thing, it's a good medicine. And every medicine will take you through the ego death. A good relationship will take you through an ego death, that you love that person so much, your ego drops, your ego sacrifices itself for the love. We see it when we're a parent. Our identity has to die for our child. We can't be exactly who we were before the child came. Now we've got this new identity with our child, and there's an ego death. And so, there's lots of deaths in life, but we just have to really focus on them. And so I think looking at how death is in our relationships, meditating on the people we've lost, honoring our ancestors, honoring our parents, the memory of our parents, children who might not have made it, miscarriages, people who we lost in the lockdown, it's important to honor their memory and soul, and to meditate, like Buddha says, on temporality, remembering nothing here lasts forever, accepting that wholeheartedly. And that's what makes beauty, like talking to you and I see you. I don't know if I see you again after this transmission. So there's a lot of beauty because I'm coming into it. This could be the last moment. And if I take that into something like singing, this could be the last time I sing, or the last time I do a shamanic circle with, or a healing with the dig, with the cannabis drink, or this is the last time I make love, or this is the last time I make a meal for my parents, or see them, or I see my kids. That's a very beautiful way to live. That's how the samurai used to live. And you see it in the film with Tom Cruise, The Last Samurai, and you see the samurai kind of head when he's going to go to battle, and he's just staring up at the cherry blossoms, and they show it vividly in the film, and he's just looking up at them. And then Tom Cruise, I've forgotten his character, he's looking at him, looking at the cherry blossoms, thinking, is he crazy? We've got to go to fight. But here he is admiring the beauty of these cherry blossoms, because you imagine that's the moment you think you're going to die, how beautiful those cherry blossoms are going to look to you. And so death is an enhancer. Death is something that can really sweeten everybody's life, you know, like it's a honey, it's not poison. So we need to make friends with this energy of death and expand our awareness through it.
Wow. That's beautiful. Also, it makes me think, and maybe it's an optional question or it's for another moment together, if death allowed us, that there are now many persons searching for, like even at an academic level, searching for substances that can help people on their last stages of lives. And I had, from my shamanic vision, the perception that the soul of the person taking this kind of, any kind of psychedelics or very strong substances that would bring the body into no suffering, would like let the soul caged, and the soul can't really live what she needs to live at this moment of the death. And so we also speak of psychedelics that can be used in a very pure and wise and helpful way from your tradition, from other traditions. And we know that, and we can see now that it can also be used in a bad way to block the soul journey, you know? And yeah, I feel it can be really a field of research for the next years, and also how from the spiritual perspective and like mediumnic perspective, we can help once the soul has been blocked after the death, no, of the body, how we can help these souls to be free again, either entering another cycle of incarnation or maybe even going to another solar system. You know, it's my vision sometimes that I have to help the souls really to journey very far away in other dimensions of experiences. And this is also a bit of my question, you know, when you are with somebody that has a person close to her dying, very simple thing, what can she do for the soul that is passing through? When my father passed away, I used the chanting that you use in your tradition, and I felt it really helped me, help my relation with my father passing, and help the soul of my father as well to like go in a vertical channel of light, you know.
Very good question, and again a very difficult one, because often we've seen now in COVID period that the drugs were used to kill the patients, you know, to make their breathing slow down, and we know the evidence for that now. And what happens to that soul, or what happens to people who are so medicated up that they were mentally blocked at death, that they couldn't have a smooth transmission of one, that a conscious death that we need. We need a conscious death when we're going to exit the body. And I would say the remedy is exactly what you said, is chanting, meditation. So if somebody's dying, first go there, take a glass of water there, so the water elements around, light a candle, ghee lamp, put some incense on, spray some perfume in the room. So it's nice for the person that they have this beauty around their death, that this like is sacred, like a very holy moment. And put on some mantra or chant some mantra or sing or do a prayer. But chanting of a mantra is very powerful because the mantras have come from very high astral levels of high vibration, of super high vibration. And so when we chant that mantra, we give diksha, we impart energy on that soul that it can have an upward movement to the higher levels of realms of existence. And so the longer we chant those mantras, we can lift that soul out of this heavy state of being blocked at death. And in our tradition, we do 13 days of chanting, generally speaking. So there'll be prayers at least, 2 to 4 hours a day for 13 days before the funeral or after. If say the funeral's like in a few days, they'll still carry on for 13 days and finish off the mantra. You find similar in the Buddhist, Jain, Hindu tradition. And so when the soul is in bardo, very important to help it. Even if it's enlightened master, the prayers is going to pick up, it's going to give it speed, it's going to give it altitude. Like in the yogic tradition, the yoga masters say that the soul has to escape the magnetic moment of the earth to go even further. And so we kind of imparting that energy through the vibration of the mantra, which is something quantum, is a vibration. And with that intention we have on a human level, our soul, our energy, our chakra system in the astral realms, it sends energy to the soul to lift it, to move it, and to see it on its way without clutching. And so the thing we should also say, what we shouldn't do when somebody dies, we shouldn't clutch onto their soul. Like, why have they died? Why are you dying for? Please don't die. Come on, you can survive. Oh no, don't go. Don't leave me. We shouldn't say these things to somebody who's dying. We should listen to what their wish is, and we should say, go to the next level of your existence. Go smoothly. We're fine here. We're happy. We're going to honor your memory. We're always going to remember you in our heart. We're always together, but you leave. Don't be afraid. Go. We have to tell the person who's dying the right things. So we shouldn't cling. We shouldn't mourn. We shouldn't start crying. Obviously, there's human grief. And in COVID time, we lost 8 people in our family, including my nephew, who was 30. And so I know what that loss of death is, and visiting people in hospitals and funerals. And in our tradition, we wash the body and we clothe the person. It's very personal. So death is super close to us when this happens. And all I can say is never grieve. Always let that person go in peace. Let their soul go free. Don't keep calling it. And yes, there's grief of loss, that human sadness that the person you love, you will not see physically again. But on a spiritual level, we know they haven't gone anywhere. Nothing is born, nothing dies. We're just experiencing life. So keep on that quantum level of consciousness, of non-duality, of oneness, and realizing we're all a part of each other. We will always be a part of each other, and we're always going to be a part of each other. But yes, in the small scale where we are in time, we're separate for a little bit, and then we're going to meet somewhere else, and things continue. And so let's look at the eternity that life is, and let's celebrate the person's memory, and let them go in peace. Let them go, hold their hand, and they go. Catch your boat, catch your plane. You got to go. Enjoy. Be in bliss. Have a blissful death. You can find blissfulness in the death. And so we must have that absolute orgasmic death where our soul orgasms into the universe and becomes one with the cosmic vagina. That's the ultimate death for a yogi. We become one with the mother. We join back into the cosmic womb, the Pavani. We become one with the space, with the elements, with all of life. We permeate everything after that death. We become the perfume of life in all things. We can do that in our life with meditation. That's the aim.
Thank you so much. Now, with these last considerations, I think we can much more understand the necessity to follow the path of the warrior, to be able to detach and really aim high another level of experiencing what it means to be human. So thank you so much for so much inspiration, and all my blessings to you, to your family, to your relationships. And I hope we can manifest a meeting soon, physically, in Europe or elsewhere, on sacred places, sacred sites, to also help the Mother Earth, Grandmother Earth, to die and reborn, be reborn, and to melt in this very specific passage we are on with Gaia Pachamama today. So it's open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mukande. I'm honored. Always beautiful to do your Sangha. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the person and sitting down and meditating and working on these levels and trying to clear some of this garbage in the universe and doing our job that we're here for.
Exactly. Aho!
Aho, aho.